Tuesday, June 7th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. I'm meteorologist Matthew East, and summer weather is again settling in this week. We're going to see the heat really peaking here in the Carolinas with this week's wave of hot weather being tomorrow and Thursday. That'll kind of be the peak of the heat. And as we get later in the week, some better thunderstorm chances try to work on in here. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the tropics as well. As today's edition of the video unfolds. I wanted to start you off with a good-looking picture here from the Avalon Pier web camera there. That's, of course, in the Outer Banks close to Kitty Hawk, and that's a great-looking shot this morning as the sky beginning to brighten there on that eastern horizon as we approach sunrise, about an hour from the time this image was taken. And across the radar imagery here, across the lower 48, there's been a couple little showers down around especially Union County this morning. Aside from that, you have to go hundreds of miles to find the nearest area of rain. There's a big complex of storms moving through southernmost Ontario into Lake Erie. And pretty decent severe weather risk today in parts of eastern Ohio, northwestern Pennsylvania, western New York. There's some thunderstorms close to the Gulf Coast yesterday as well. Most of those have settled on down. Temperatures, look at that. We're looking at some 80-degree readings in a lot of places in the Plain States this morning. In fact, currently in Minneapolis, St. Paul, it is 82 degrees. That is a 4 a.m. Central Time temperature. And they had a high yesterday in Minneapolis of 97. Now, there's the upper air pattern today, a big upper-level ridge centered over the Tennessee Valley right there, this valley this afternoon. And that will build east. As we get into tomorrow afternoon, it's centered over the southeast and the Carolinas. And then as we get on into Friday and the weekend, the ridge flattens out a bit, and that's going to allow a very weak cold front to gradually approach from the northwest. And that'll help to give us at least some scattered thunderstorm chance down the road. Today, it's going to be mainly a dry day until you get up into the mountains. A couple thunderstorms in the heating of the day up that way. Piedmont highs today, mainly lower 90s. Still relatively low levels of humidity, but then the heat and the humidity crank up a couple of notches tomorrow. Our Wednesday highs in the mid-90s, muggier conditions as well. Thursday, mid-90s, and I think maybe a little better chance Thursday afternoon of an isolated storm, but still once away from the mountains. The rain chance is very low Thursday, but I do think a little better chance here on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of seeing some scattered thunderstorms. And on Sunday, as we get late in the day, it looks like a cold front will approach, and we'll be behind that front by Monday. It looks like that front will probably be able to push down to about there. And if that's the case, then we get some 80s back in here for highs by the first couple of days of next work week. And I know a lot of folks would not mind seeing that. All right, let's switch gears. Go to the tropics here. Our tropical disturbance still down there in the Caribbean, but it looks pretty sickly this morning. Nothing at all impressive. And at the moment, there's still a reconnaissance flight scheduled out into this region today. I have a hunch they'll cancel that. Nothing overly impressive to really look at for the time being. There's the spaghetti charts on this, and still a pretty decent spread. I'll say the overall prospects of this developing to me look a little lower today than it did the previous couple of days, but still some of the modeling does develop this. Here's the NAM, brings it up toward the Straits of Florida there as we get into Friday morning. This is going to be the Canadian model, brings it through the Bahamas and well off the Carolina coast by 132 hours. This is the Hurricane Wharf model, brings it off the Carolina coast out there as we get into 114 hours away. And finally, the No-Gaps actually tucks us up pretty close to the Georgia coast after crossing Florida out there at 132 hours. So again, some of the modeling still does develop this, but excuse me, at the moment, at least it's not looking overly impressive. All right, that is it for today's edition of the video. Thank you for watching. Have a great Tuesday, and God bless.